Welcome, Friday morning. I'm Lou here with John. We are going to go over crypto raiders. If you've never heard of crypto raiders and you want to start it up, John's your guy. So we're going to go over some things to do with crypto raiders. How's it going, John?
Morning, Lou. How you doing today?
Good. So I guess let's go right into it.
Yeah, we
So
can jump
crypto
right in.
raiders, how you started with them, and why you think this is a game that other people should hop on board, why it's fun for you.
Yeah, so I think I joined Crypto Raiders 5 months ago, maybe, right around when they were first releasing their first generation of characters. At the time, they didn't really have a game at all. Like there was no dungeons yet, and since that time, they've released a ton of dungeons and like gear, and they had 2 or 3 recruitment events for new raiders. They did special Halloween and Christmas events that are going on now. So I just think it's a really enjoyable game. It's kind of fleshed out compared to a lot of DeFi games that have kind of been around.
Yeah.
I played I played old school RuneScape growing up, and it kind of gives me a similar feel of that. So it was kind of just I've been a gamer my whole life. It was an easy parallel for me. So
Yeah, and I think people will see once we start showing the game itself that it has a little bit of those the dungeon feel to it is similar to people that have played things like League of Legends. Isn't really I meant Diablo is the one I was thinking of.
mm-hmm.
Diablo is kind of like that, or Dungeons and Dragons. If you were to visualize what Dungeons and Dragons is like, um, it's similar to those kind of games. So, yeah, let's go for it. So, from just a overall, just we already wrote an article about it on luckytrader.com. Could you just give the quick what's crypto raiders specifically?
Yeah, so it's a dungeon crawler on Polygon. You get raiders to earn loot, so it is a play to earn in that way. They haven't fleshed out their marketplace yet, which is in the works, but soon enough, all of your gear NFTs will be individual, so you can sell them and swap them in between characters. Then they have PvP duels, so they're kind of working on a host of things besides just dungeon raiding. So it's kind of an overarching game, but at its core, it's a dungeon crawler to earn loot, which is really fun.
Okay. Yeah, and so this game is on Polygon,
Mm-hmm.
and some people don't know what Polygon is. It's a somewhat of a layer 2 off of Ethereum, but the nice part about Polygon is your low gas fees, and you have cheaper gas fees is always a good thing because these games tend to have more transactions. So they can't really work on Ethereum in the same way that they work on these other side chains. So the beauty of Polygon, we'll go over a little bit on how you can get your money over there. You're still using Ethereum, but it's on the Polygon net. So yeah, let's quickly go over how you can get money onto Polygon. And probably the easiest way to do that would just be in OpenSea itself, right?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say I really like Polygon. This like crypto raiders kind of driven me to the layer. It's just so cheap for transactions, and like you said, there's so much stuff that you're kind of doing in game. It's really nice not having to worry about gas fees all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, the quickest way you could do it is in OpenSea itself. You would be able to go up there, and I might have to
I can share my
restart
screen if
this
you
thing.
want to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not sharing.
Yeah, I'll go for mine because I already got the Raider page pulled up. So
Hold on. I think this is booting me. Okay.
you okay? Well, I don't know what happened to Lou right there. We'll take a second as we're waiting to see. Um, as he's gone, I guess I'll show you guys kind of the starting process to how you'd find raiders. Oh,
I don't know
there's
what it has
second.
a third. That's so weird. All right, we're back. Let's show this up. Okay, so this is the page on OpenSea itself. So it's Crypto Raiders characters.
You want me to or you? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I can pull it up.
I'll let you do it. Just because
So
I'd love to walk you through buying one. I mean, I think you said you have one character, right?
yeah, I have one character right now, and obviously it'd be nice to have more. So Crypto Raiders, and it's not there's multiple collections. So I don't know if we want to really go over that part, but there was an old collection, and basically what happened is they migrated over from layer 1 to layer 2. So it was originally a game that was on Ethereum mainnet,
Mm-hmm.
and then as we were mentioning before, like games are just better on the cheaper ones. So
Yeah, so they
I'll pull
bridged
this up.
everything over, and I know they put a note on the old OpenSea listing just to make sure that you're not buying from that page.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you have the Crypto Raiders characters. It has the blue verified check mark. Right now, floor is about 0.06 Ethereum, which compared to some other games, it's pretty manageable. And as you can see, it's a thin floor right now. There's only 4 before it's 0.08.
Yeah,
So it seems like people were buying in anticipation of us. Yeah,
I
there's a
think they
couple
have
sweeps here.
pretty consistent volume too. I mean, obviously the whole market's a little slow as of late, but if you look over time, I think people are always kind of getting interested in buying more characters or starting off with fresh ones.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go right through it. And first thing I would do is like you click on this top right section, right? And you would do I would go to add ETH, and then that's if you wanted to add ETH first, right? So I loaded this up with some ETH. I do have some Polygon ETH, but let's just show how to sort of do it. And is this how you would suggest to people?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes even will just actually click on the raider I want and then just go through the process on there. But however you want to wrap it is usually easy. Um, what I like about doing it on the characters, they give you the amount you need right away necessary to buy. So you kind of you're not going to like wrap any extra ETH, which is nice. Um, but I think either way is probably okay. I mean, I guess if it
Okay.
works.
Yeah. So then the other thing you want to do is you have to switch over to Polygon.
So you don't have to switch over to Polygon to buy on OpenSea. You can still do it on the Ethereum mainnet. But
Oh, so I have to switch back to Ethereum.
yeah, once you're actually on the Cryptos Raider site, you'll be
Okay.
on Polygon.
So here I'm on Ethereum. I could go to put ETH as the top one, and then WETH is the bottom one. And let's put like 0.2 over there.
He's
Just make
going for it.
sure. Well, figure there you're gonna need to make transactions while you're on there, and
So
maybe we
yeah,
buy more than one character.
if you're using just like transactions within game, it'll be Matic. But anything for the LP, you will need wrapped ETH. So
Yeah, that's important to note is that you need Matic as well. And if you've never used the Polygon network before, you're preloaded with a little bit of Matic to make those initial transactions, but you probably want to swap a little Matic. Like you only need one Matic probably
yeah, you
to
don't need
make
much.
most of your transactions. Okay, so now I have some WETH on here now, and let's go through like what am I looking for mainly with a character?
So I think it's all kind of dependent on what you're looking to do in the game, right? Like if you're brand new, you could pick a character. So if you look to the left where it says new recruit, there's a 2 to the left of each one, or like a 6 or a 1. So those will be the level in game. So if you want to start fresh, you could start with a low level 1 or 2, and you'll kind of get a better gist and handle on like how the game works, what kind of loot you're looking for. But if you want to get more specific and kind of go for a higher class raider with some better loot, you can see if you scroll up a tiny bit that level 6 Nightshade. It has a couple
I
of
mean,
good.
you can notice here, like they generally are wearing their loot, which I
Mhm,
think if you've obviously like as you play the game longer, you might be able to recognize the different the gear itself. But you
mhm.
could see like this one, the naked characters are fresh. Like they were just they were recreated. They haven't run any raids at all.
Yeah,
So it's
minimal
nice that
type of
it
stuff.
shows you the level right in the name of it. And then if it says new recruit, that just means someone hasn't named it yet, right?
Yeah, so the first generation, they actually named each individual character, like it was John 1 through 600 or something,
Yeah.
and then Old Man 600 through 1,000 or
So they
something.
basically start from one
Yeah.
character and then as they go down the list.
So then after each recruiting event, they just show up as new recruits because they don't have an actual like original vintage number. So that's why you see new recruit or then the name. One thing I like too, though, is don't feel that you have to stick with Nightshade. You can change that once you're in
Yeah,
game.
that's kind of the cool part of it is and we could show that a little later, but you can name the characters themselves, which people like that when it comes to games like this.
Hmm.
So what would you say is most important? Because these are all Gen 3 characters.
Hmm. I,
Is Generation 1 important to go to? Like, so right now, the floor is that 0.06, but
mhm.
those are Generation 3. If you were to sort by Generation 1, the floor is 0.14.
Yep.
Um, so to me, like, depending on the game, you might like someone like this that's a level 7 Generation 1.
Mhm.
Is there a benefit to being Generation 1 versus 2 or 3?
So there's no in-game benefit. It's more of just a historical value. Like you see founding Axes or CryptoKitties sell for a lot because they were the first generation. That would maybe be your kind of line of thinking in wanting to pick up a Generation 1 character is that if you think this game will be around for a while, maybe I want a Generation 1 for historic value. Um, so there's really no reason that you have to buy a Generation 1, but there's definitely a lot of people who like to buy them anyways. So.
Okay. Yeah, because there's other games where Generation 1, um, and we'll come to it as far as like things like breeding go in this game, but um, in some other games like DeFi Kingdoms, if you're in the first generation, you have unlimited breeding
Mm,
versus further generations have it's like cascading down in the amounts. Um, so sometimes it's important to have a
mhm.
higher generation, but it seems like in this game it's not as important. But I could see them creating something down the line that might give
Yeah.
more
Well,
prominence to Gen 1.
and I've seen too. I mean, since I started the game, these original characters I think were 0.05. So they've obviously risen in value and they have a limited supply. So I mean, I can see the reason for them to go up, but if I'm recommending someone just to get in the game for fun and cheap, I think there's no need to get one, right? Um,
Hmm.
so my question to you would be, what are you like? Is your first character a high level or no levels, or what are you looking to do when you start?
Yeah, so I could just connect it on here, right?
Mhm.
I could show you my first character. I actually have um he's
You got to switch.
how did how did I describe it? He's rarer, like the so there's different you'll see in the properties here, there's different
Hmm.
races,
Hmm.
and I got an orc. So he's a rarer, just the race that he
Race.
is
Yeah.
rare. Um He's
Nice.
Gen 3, level 5, kind of coming up on level 6. So one question I had for you is there's 7 levels right now. Is the level number unlimited or does it go up to 100? Is it maxed at 7? Will it never
S-
be higher than 7?
Currently, it's capped at 7, but they update every. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on this. I want to say it's like every 2 or 3 weeks they increase the max cap for level. So
Okay.
I would say either next week or the week after it'll become 8. then a few weeks down the line
So
from
they're
that, it'll become
managing that over
yeah.
them.
So they've kind of released them in tandem with the bosses. Kind of, max level is right around where the top boss would be for the time being.
Okay. So yeah, basically this is my guy Thon. And he's got a decent amount of inventory. So that's the
Mhm,
important thing to note when you're buying a character is they come with all the inventory on there. So at some point in time, like you mentioned, there's going to be a marketplace for these.
mhm.
So when you're buying these characters, they come with essentially added value down the line. Like who knows? These could be $5 each or something like
Yeah,
it,
definitely.
but um but I mean, it adds up. There's 20 items on here that I would be able to sell, and then you're getting some of your initial buy-in back just from buying characters. So I looked at this and said, I don't want a character that's naked. Like that was my
Yeah.
first thing. So the benefit to buying a character that's a higher level, in my opinion, is they come with more
Mhm,
gear. And there's a bunch to choose from. We can go through this after on like which of these I should have him wearing.
mhm,
But so basically I already have a character that's a level 5 Gen 3
mhm.
with decent experience and decent gear. Do you want me to go over those specific items in here as far as if you
Well,
think
we I was gonna say we could hit that when I hop on and do some raids here in a bit,
okay.
because I have a pretty big inventory on some of my characters. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
it's really cool to see what you have and like what you kind of started with. So for you, I feel like since you already have a handle on the game, you probably already just want a higher level character with maybe some good inventory, right?
yeah. So
So when you're scrolling through here, do you want to
mhm.
pull up? I'll link this to you real quick, actually.
Yeah, throw it in our private chat.
So this is
Okay, so Tony is saying that Generation 1 will have 30% plus 30% Aurum drops when P2E mechanics kick in. So I believe you had mentioned, I'm not sure if it was on stream or in a chat with us, but
I think
um,
I wrote it up in the introduction, probably actually.
yeah. So initially, people that own like I don't know if you'd call them like early investors in a way, but people that had already characters got airdropped Aurum, right? Is it pronounced Aurum?
I believe so. To be honest, I've never really like spoken to someone about it in person. I think it's Arum, Raider and Arum. Um, but yeah, I know that they have a plan for dropping Arum to, or it might just be loot and gold to mob bosses as well. So they have a few mechanisms for earning like Arum and loot in other ways than just raiding. They just haven't implemented them yet. So I'm hesitant to put too much like into it because we don't know exactly what the percentages and dropping will end up being. But yeah, that's
So
a good point. That Generation
I
One
have
will
to
have a.
connect into this website in order
Oh
to
yeah,
use it.
yeah, you do, you do.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry,
So
it's trustworthy. They have it pinned
okay,
in
yeah. So
there.
Crypto Raiders, we'll put this uh in the show notes later. I'll just put
Perfect.
that in the chat. Um, so this is currently showing me my items. Is that right?
No, so this is they don't have. If you go to the left, you see my stuff. They don't have that yet. They have my Raiders, so you'll be able to see your one. They have a simulator they built out, which is kind of cool to figure out your
He's very
percentages.
agile.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
agility has been a pretty good meta lately, actually. Um,
Yeah. So I guess quickly on here. So they have agility, intelligence. Just go down these. Strength. That's charm, luck, and wisdom. Right.
mhm.
Um, is there a guide that breaks down each of those stats and what they're used for in the game?
Yeah, so if you go to simulator, this will actually help a lot.
Okay.
If you select your raider, right? So then you can start implementing these numbers for like the gear you have and just add like a couple to agility. And you can see the change that it would have on
Oh yeah.
health, damage, hit criticals. So um, obviously, this is a third party website that's kind of like scraping data right now.
Mm-hmm.
is what I've been told from Tyrell. But I'm sure this will get more fleshed out in the future, where it's kind of a little easier to understand what each, like, I'm pretty sure strength adds to like health and damage, and then agility adds to like first hit and criticals and stuff. So it's all kind of dependent right now, but it's not super fleshed out. If you hop into their Discord, the theory crafting, there's a lot of people that have kind of basic walkthroughs on what they think each one does and what's the best to combine with each one. So
Okay. So
you could keep going down.
we
Yeah,
go back to the
Raiders.
stuff list.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
just
Raider
go to Raider
stats.
stats. Nothing too much here. This gives you a good breakdown of where everything is.
Okay, so there's actually less Generation 2 than Generation 1.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
the first recruitment event, I think there wasn't a ton of people involved at the time, and the ARM pool wasn't huge. So you use ARM to recruit raiders from your current raiders. So I think since there wasn't a ton of ARM available yet, there just wasn't as many Generation 2s.
Cool.
That's an interesting. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I would think because in most games, the way that it works is like Generation 1 would technically be the
Smallest
rarest.
supply, yeah.
But in this game, you're not breeding in the way that like you're taking two characters and making a third character from it. It's more like holder dependent. Is that right?
Yeah.
So there's probably, I would guess there's a lot of people that bought Gen 1s like months ago and probably just forgot about the game and like haven't gotten into it. And so, or they just listed it and just
Never
they
thought
didn't build
about.
up the Aurum. So to me, what it shows in here is the three most important stats are going to be intelligence, agility, and strength. But from what I know, as far as like games in general go, is they will likely balance that out over time.
Yeah.
So things like luck and charm might be like cheaper entry points to get into them earlier because they don't seem as important, but over time they could, and you could get them in at like a cheaper entry point. But so yeah, then if I go to my stuff,
They don't. So they don't have this set up yet. Yeah.
Okay. So then
actually,
stuff list.
Yeah. So this would be most useful for when you're going through OpenSea, and in the description of OpenSea, they have just a kind of a list of individual. You could just click on one of them, and then you'll see the list of inventory. And it's kind of tough because it's all just put in there.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm sure they're working on something to make it a little better. But if you go over to Guru, you can sort by the meta score on the far right, and this will show you like what the best pieces of equipment are or gear are in the game, and it'll give you the ranges for how high of agility the Blade of the Beast can have, or how high intelligence.
Is meta the best? Does it go meta, good, decent, average?
Yep. So you can kind of see two on the right. Most of the ones with like really low percentages are going to end up being like better scores, right? So 0.2% of raiders have the Crook Jaw, and that's like probably the best item in the game. Yeah, right. But if you kind of scroll down, you can see there's more middle tier items that would be good to pick up on characters that you might be buying off secondary that will end up helping you raid. So I saw, you see that mistletoe chopper a few down? Yeah. If you go back over to OpenSea, it's only 8% of raiders have it right now. Go back to the other, like the whole listings. I saw, I think, scroll down a tiny bit, I saw one of them. Yeah,
so this is where it could be beneficial to
exactly
sort of know what they look like.
Yeah, that fifth recruit or the number 5 new recruit at 0.0839. Oh,
this one
up one row. Yeah, you can click on that one. So this one would be something I might recommend someone to buy because they have a couple of the like better. The mistletoe chopper, they have a Crusader's cloak on there, which is also a good item. So if you're looking
I'm gonna click buy before someone watching the stream hops on and does it. But yeah, so basically if you start getting an idea of what these items look like, then you'll be able to scroll through. So right now there's not like, because it's listed in description this way, it's harder to maneuver. It's a little more time consuming, it seems like, in order to specifically look up the characters themselves.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it says that
seeing
I did.
Logan
Does that mean I got it?
not financial advice. Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, it says owned by you. So yeah, here, let's go do a raid with it now, or hopefully it still has its raids for the week. You can refresh.
Yeah, so let's get a little towards the
So
raids now.
yours are done for the week. So I could hop over and show my screen if you
So
want to.
how often do you get raids? How many, like it says for both of these characters, 0 missions left.
Mhm.
So how many missions do you get? How often do you get them?
So every Wednesday they release 5 free raids per character. So in 5 days for you, you'll have 10 raids on both these characters. And then with that, they have the stash where you can buy dungeon keys for 25 ARM, which is I think like 60 cents or something like that right now total. So you can buy dungeon resets for like $1 or something like that, and then play more throughout the week. So if you wanted to, you could still do some. Like you just bought a character that someone had already rated on this week, which is fair, but you could still reset the dungeons and do them if you wanted.
So in that sense, like, when is the best time to buy? Would that be like a Wednesday then? Best time to buy because it's going to reset the next day?
Yeah, so I guess if you're looking to do raids right away, a Tuesday would be like your best bet because they'll reset at the end of that night then, or is it the end of Wednesday night? I'm forgetting. Here, I can check their Discord right now. It has the time.
Yeah,
Raids
so
reset in 4
if you
days.
are trying to sort of like flip these, best time to sell is going to be like on a Thursday after you did your 5 raids.
Yep.
Best time to buy would be probably a Wednesday because you're guaranteed it's going to reset. Is there a way to check how many missions are left before buying or not yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there isn't, but I could be misspeaking on that.
Yeah.
That would be. I really think the Crypto Raiders Discord is one of my favorite Discords I've been in. People are really friendly and always answer questions, so that'd be
Yeah.
something I could just hop
And
in
so
there and
people
ask.
are building their own sort of like this website that we just looked on, Guru. Was that built by someone in the Discord?
I would assume so. I actually don't know who built it, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of tools, I'm assuming, over time that come out. Like it's still a relatively new game as far as like built out. It's only been around for a couple months, but I mean, you probably weren't able to do raids for a while. When was the initial that Aurum drop?
Here I can
Was
kind
that
of
in
give
like
you.
October?
Let me check. No, actually, that sounds kind of right. So I bought my first original character 5 months ago. So that was what, August?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right, actually. It was probably late September, early October for the first arm drop. But I think, it is still worthwhile if you're very interested in playing the game just to pick up some Raider to like stake. If you're interested in playing the game, because ARM will be produced that way, and as of right now, it's the only way to get ARM. So, maybe in a month or two that might change where it's better to own a mob to try and get ARM or just a Generation 1 character. But
Yeah, so describe what a mob is. That was on the guru list. Is that like you're grouping with other people, or is it your own characters?
here, I'll share my screen with
Yeah, pop it up.
everyone.
I can bring it on.
I'm gonna. I guess I could just do the
So
full thing.
now we have a character. Now we've used all of our missions.
So here are the. I went to the wrong one. Cancel this. Right, you want to go check out mobs real quick?
So it's a different collection completely.
Yeah, these might be the wrong one. Hold on, I'll just go through it here. You can go through it. Struggling out here. Okay, so here's the mobs collection. So in here, these are going to be the dungeon bosses. So currently they're just putting up dungeons each week, and they have a boss that you fight. So in the works is a way to use these as your own bosses that will like other people can fight, and that will like increase arm drops for people and stuff, I believe is their plan, or they're going to give loot to the dungeon or mob holders. So right now there's no utility for them. They dropped them to holders of crypto raiders. But if you want to pick one up, they'll eventually be worked into the game as a way to earn extra loot and arm.
And you can stake them as of now.
Right now there's no staking or anything, so it's kind
So
of
it's just
just
buy and hold.
exactly. I know they've been teasing. If I can't remember when the last tease. What I like a lot is they have a blog here, but they teased that they were getting closer on finishing all the mobs. They have a few artworks left, and then I think after that they'll probably release the actual utility for them.
Okay, so basically you're buying the villain in the game, and if someone comes in and they go to do a raid and they die, they lose in the raid, then you would end up getting a piece of that, correct?
Yes.
Is it like a percentage and sort of like based off of how many other people are holding them?
So I would assume that's what they're gonna do. I also know they have different rarities on these. So like the higher you go, you have rare, you have epic. So I want to say there's gonna be like different percentages based on what type of mob you hold. But this is all still kind of hypothetical, as this hasn't really been built out. As you can see, there's still a couple that have artwork that needs to be released yet. So
Cool. Yeah, that's a part of this game that I thought was kind of cool, where you could like play both sides if you want, because eventually they're gonna have like a permadeath, where if you go into the raid and you actually die, you lose the character themselves. So there's probably at some point in time, like the villains could become the place you want to be. I'm not sure if the villains are going to have the same sort of permadeath rules, because I think most of the time that your raider is going to win out. But yeah, so here's your collection. You got 6 little raiders here.
Yep. So I guess I could go through them all. I did my raids on my middle character, this blue elf. She's like my best character right now. So what I've been doing with her is I actually have been doing a inventory or intelligence build, because I just got this item, a red nose.
So you're leveling up your stats every time you gain enough experience to go up a level. Then you get to add a point to the stat. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I believe it's 7 stat points per
Total.
level. Yeah. So then you kind of just as you go. I'm hoping actually maybe this character might level up today. So you could see the turnover from level 6 to level 7, and then gaining more stat points to add.
Okay.
So
What I'm seeing in here is you have 2 characters that have already used all of your missions on the week. Can they still would you just stake them for the rest of the week? Is the staking locked for extended period of time?
So there's no staking for characters. All the staking is
Currently.
just for the native token raider and Aram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So once you're done with raids for the week, there's not necessarily much you can do unless you buy. If you go over to the stash, there's dungeon keys and scrolls of knowledge, which reset your stat, or you can run more dungeons. So I could show you real quick, right? I have 18 dungeon keys right now. So we could just reset to run a new dungeon, even though she has 0 missions left this week.
And is that something that you are picking up along the way? Like, can you find those in raids?
No, you cannot. So right now, that's one of the big use cases for RM is these two utility items. That'd be kind of cool if they added them to dungeons. But I think they kind of want to keep a mechanism for burning RM as the in-game currency. But I don't know if you looked at this page yet, in-game resources. They have a lot of
More
stuff.
to come.
Yeah, that's in the works right now. Um, I know they want to do fishing. It looks like they're going to do some crafting and kind of like cooking, probably for health and critical boosts and stuff during battles. So I'm really excited, looking forward to what they all have, even though there's just kind of, it's a what I really like about Crypto Raiders is it's very standardized right now. It's easy to understand and get into, I think.
Yeah, it's a simple entry point. There's a lot of games out there that are overcomplicating things,
Mhm.
and in this case, like it seems pretty straightforward. Like you have this character, you go on the mission, they tell you exactly how many missions you can have. So should we go through what a raid looks like?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we've been waiting the whole time, right? Been teasing raids. So, um, these are level 4. So I'll probably just end up doing a normal
Yeah.
raid
So wait,
right
before
away.
you click that, so I just want to go over
Mm,
this list basically.
yeah.
Um, it's going from levels 1 up to 9,
Hmm.
right? So the level, is that based off of your character level? How do you know I can do a level 5 dungeon versus a level 4? Like how would you know what your character can go through?
Cool. So, it's at first for me, it was kind of a guess and check kind of scenario, right? So I would go into my inventory and I'd have, my two best items selected. I'd put my stats to where I thought would be good, and then I would just go fight, right? And win or lose, I'd be happy or not, right? Now, if you go to the simulator, you can actually do. As you've seen, I've run simulations with agilities and like different numbers that I have versus certain mobs to find the win percentage. But that can be a lot of work. So a lot of the time, I just like ending up running them. And usually, when I'm lower level, I try to just run dungeons I know I'm gonna beat.
Okay.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense to you, because
Yeah,
I'd rather
definitely.
I currently, if you don't win the dungeon, you don't get any gear experience. So I think it's just better to run dungeons I know I'm gonna win to level my character up, and then I can start testing out the higher ones
Yeah, I
later.
went in when I did that character Thon that I showed you.
Mhm.
I He was level 5, so I hopped on like a level 5 dungeon and he died. So I was like,
Ah,
all right, I have to I guess I have to go
yep.
down one of the levels. So yeah, some of it's trial and error, and
Mhm.
right now there's no permadeath, so you can actually take
Do as
those risks.
mhm.
Um, so which character are we gonna go with? Are we gonna go with Tammy or
What do
one
you
of
want
these
to
new
do?
recruits?
I'll start for people who are maybe are watching for the first time and have never played this. I'll just start with a new recruit at a lower level rate so you can kind of see how
So level
s-
3.
yeah, standard and easy it is. Can you hear the volume?
No, you might have had to share
That's,
audio when you originally shared. Um, so there's a little song that plays in the background of this. Oh, put the volume up. It looks like the volume's low.
I had it down because I didn't know if you guys would want it on or not.
Oh,
So I know Bill, one of our leaders here at Lucky Trader, had a question about whether or not he could move in dungeon, which you cannot currently. The dungeon crawler just takes you there directly. But they teased this morning in Overworld, so I'm hoping soon that we'll have autonomous movement.
okay. So now you're facing this guy, and this is one of those characters that you would potentially own in the future,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So right now, these are just all done through crypto radars, but I'm assuming that their plan is to have you set up dungeons against people's own bosses or mobs, as they call them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, when you lose and say when they implement the permadeath function and you drop your loot, the mobs who defeated them will retrieve that loot for you. So as it's still in the works, it's going to be a really interesting gameplay mechanic. I'm looking forward to it a lot. But for the time being, you're just fighting normal dungeons.
Okay.
So
So
should I get after it? Right now, pretty standard. Just attack, and then they will attack
they
back.
attack you back.
Yeah. Since this character is pretty good in comparison to this boss, it should be an easy win for me. I like my intelligence build. Oh, there was a critical. So if you want to note those, there's a percentage obviously that you get higher damage. So normally I'm hitting for 13 or 14, and then that one I hit for 27. So that's kind of where the fluctuation in percentages. Oh, and another one to finish it. So I got a wizard's manual. So you can hop over to Guru and see if it's any good. I don't think it really is. So what I like to do too, to kind of get me excited about what I'm rating, is I look for items that I want, right? So right now I'm looking for this ice barrier rune, or this ice barrier spell rune, and it's available in all dungeons. So I could have got one in that last run, which would have been great, but that's okay.
Yeah, so you can sort of see like percent chance of getting different items. So now that you've cleared this, you got your XP.
I'll close the window up. Okay.
Would you generally do all your missions at once?
So yeah, I hit or miss, because sometimes it can take me a while since I have 30 missions in a week. So now that one dropped to 4. If you go into my inventory, you can see the wizard's manual appeared. Uncommon gear, nothing crazy, right? So since I have 30 raids to do in a week, it can kind of take a little while to do all of them.
Sure.
So I'll split it up sometimes, but if I'm not busy, I like to get them all done in one ring to go.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably, I don't want to say issue, but the biggest issue that I would have, the biggest con, I'd say, in the game right now is it's 5 missions for the whole week, which I get, like, not everyone can hop on and grind it every day, but are you concerned that that kind of loses interest in a way? Because a lot of these games, the reason why they become successful is they can be addictive. And do you think that's somewhat slowing it down?
I would say yes and no, because I mean, you see people in the Discord who have tons of characters who will still run them all each week anyways. But I could see it halting the growth for certain people who maybe don't like the grinding function. But I think a lot of that will be addressed as they add more different like mechanics to like owning raiders and having an overworld and being able to swap out loot for different things and crafting and fishing. I think that'll open up the doors a little more. But yeah, raiding can get a little grindy, definitely. But if you know what you're looking for, it's really fun, I think.
Yeah.
So have you done, I'd love to run one of the harder ones for you to give you a better idea. Have you done either the Guardian's Lair? Probably not, because
No,
it's
let's
pretty
go
high
for it.
level. Yeah.
No,
So
level 7, I have not tried that one.
so
I
I'll
did the
also,
one that you just showed.
okay. I'll also point this out too. Stat rolls for each item that you get are dependent on whether it's normal or heroic. So each item in game will have a certain level of stats, but then this one has a different level than this one, right? Like it has one different luck. So if you're doing higher heroic raids, you'll get better gear in that way, or you can possibly get better rolls in that way.
Okay.
So here I'll show you. I have the dungeon keys right now, and since I have 0 raids, it will take 3 dungeon keys for me to do this. As you can see right here, so we can check that when we come back. But what I really like about this dungeon is you can start to see the depth and things they're going for with the game. In this one, there's, instead of just one boss, there's a smaller intermediary boss or intermittent boss that you fight before the main one. And they kind of give you an option whether to recover HP or maybe gain better critical chance after the first boss. So it kind of gives you a little more choice and some gameplay mechanics that are definitely going to be utilized in the future.
This guy's a little rat now.
Yeah. So here, I'll point this out before we start. This character has all intelligence build and a really, really good intelligence gear.
Yeah. Is this the one that Tony was saying had Epic Hydra?
Say that again?
Different one. Yeah, Tony here says is that Epic Hydra mob you got?
Oh yeah, that is the Epic Hydra mob I have. Yeah. I got really lucky on one of the drops actually. So this combination of all intelligence does a ton of damage, 46 damage. It also is pretty good at dodging people a lot of the time. Right now, this little rat's hitting me a lot, but we're going to get through it. There we go. Okay, so this is now the choice I have to make. Do I want 10% hit percent chance, or do I want to recover 21% HP heading into the next one?
And this is for your next part of this same dungeon.
Right, so then we're continuing on the same dungeon. I chose health there just because the little rat did a decent amount of damage to me. But yeah, so here we're going to be looking, we're going to want this, if we can get it. That would be, the croak jaw would be awesome. So root for me, okay?
So we have a little, as you said, like right now, the game is moving for you.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing the physical moving. It brings you to that next section.
So, yeah. And I know some people can get a little confused with that. I think it's just for simplicity for them as they're building stuff out. I think as they tease the overworld today, that's probably something that they're going to end up probably toying around with. Man, you guys are going off in the chat.
Yeah. Right. So how often are they like doing patching and coming out with updates that like every week along with that Wednesday?
Yeah,
missions.
I would say every Wednesday you're going to look for maybe like a stat patch and raids being released. And then not every week do they release dev updates. I would say almost like every 2 or 3 weeks, there's for sure something that they're putting out, especially if they're working on something big. But this past week they put out the Christmas dungeons, which we'll go to one after this.
Oh, so they're doing a little holiday theme.
Yes, and I was going to recommend anyone watching, please do the Christmas dungeons before they close because they're giving limited time loot out. So it could be
like Santa hats and stuff like that.
Yeah, and actually where I got my best item is from that actually. So now you can see okay, go ahead.
Yeah, can you describe in the bottom right? It's a little hard to read what those 3 say. Can you just describe what each of those 3 clicks could be?
Yeah, so right now they have attack, escape artist, and run away. Attack obviously is just to attack him as normal. Escape artist is the spell rune I have, which is, there's different ones in the game. Ice barrier, there's a bash rune, which is pretty good. So mine's
can you only use it once? Ever?
No, you can use it once during any battle. Actually, you might be able to do it more, but since mine's an escape artist, it would just be to like get out of the battle. But since there's no permadeath right now, it's not really super useful. But here, I'll finish this guy off. And then runaway obviously would be to run away. Escape artist and runaway are kind of the same thing, but if you had the bash room, this would be here to fight as well.
Now, for the runaway, is it even beneficial to do that? Because if you ran away right now, would it end the entire mission?
Yeah, it would. There's no benefit to really running away right now.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
it'll definitely be more of a future mechanic where, if you're in trouble and you don't want your character to die,
right,
you're gonna have to run away. But yeah, I think there's on Guru too. There's a percentage depending on your intelligence and wisdom and stuff. That gives you your chances of running away. But here, we'll attack this guy. Just keep attacking him. It's usually a really close battle when I fight these. Oh, he's getting a couple criticals on me, so I'm gonna be kind of close. As long as he misses a few times, which he did in the last two, I should be okay. There we go. So I got a sludge-covered breastplate. Let's see what that is. Ooh, moderate. Okay, 8% of raiders have it. You can go check out the stat roll on it. So since I did that with keys, you can see now I'm down to 15 keys, right? Still have 0 missions. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making sure. I need to tab out of that next time. So then down here, you can see my new common dress gear that I got. 11 strength, 8 wisdom, 3 charm. Not bad, but not nearly as good as my other gear right now. So let's go we'll do another raid. Oh, nice. I didn't realize I had that. Okay, so this character leveled up last time I used it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you head over the stats, it says I have 7 available.
Okay.
So now I can add them to whatever I see fit,
So is there benefit to balancing your character? Because what we showed in that other one, it seems like people are only really upgrading to intelligence, strength, and then agility. So I'm assuming they're going to have to balance it at some point.
Yeah, they've went through some balancing already. But currently it seems as though the meta is just dropping all your stat points into one, or like basically just one, like strength or intelligence or agility. But I know a couple people in the theory crafting Discord who have had success using like 7 luck because it gives them a better chance at evading hits from bosses, or like a certain amount of wisdom. But yeah, I definitely think a lot of it will be week by week stat modifications, just to kind of balance out what they want everyone to use.
Okay.
But I think too, they're okay because say you have a really good intelligence item, like I do, the red nose here. I think Crypto Raiders likes the idea of one character just being an intelligence character, or like one character just being a strength character. So it's still going to be viable, I bet, but I think they'll just make luck and charm and those better in the future.
So you can have up to 3 items on your character at once right now.
Yes.
Is that correct? So it's your clothes and then 1 of each hand.
So it's like 1 fighting weapon and then 1 spell rune.
Okay, so the rune is an item on your character.
Yeah, so technically they're called knickknacks. So it'd be a dress, a weapon or gear, and then a knickknack.
Cool.
So here, we'll do a Christmas one real quick. I don't know if he's strong enough. I don't think he is, so I'm just gonna do the middle level one, right? Because I'd rather just get XP. And this is...
So what was the level on this one? Are the
This
Christmas ones all different levels?
Yes, they have 4 to 6 and 7 to 9. So they recommend just doing 1 with each raider you have, because they're dropping mobs at the end of Christmas to people who ran the Christmas dungeons.
Oh, okay.
So
So don't buy a mob if you do that, because you're gonna get one.
Yeah, well, it's a random selection of people they're dropping mobs to. So
okay, so it's
you
like
could
you're in a
do
raffle.
the dungeons. Yeah, do the dungeons, wait to see what happens in the raffle, and then go from there. So yeah, Christmas theme here. They have special items which won't be coming back for this dungeon, which I really like. That's where I got some of my Halloween gear from. But I think they have... hold on, I'll peek over here real quick. They have two of the best items in the game. Blue Elf Tunic and the Red Nose are up top here. So they have good items in this Christmas dungeon for everyone.
Okay, and so the question that I have that Luna brings up here is classes will definitely bring a mix in stat allocations with strength, intelligence, and agility. So as of now, what's the deal with the different classes, like different races? Do any of those benefit right now? Like if you have, say, most of them are humans, but like I have an orc. Is the orc, should I be building him differently because he's an orc? Have
No.
they really changed anything in that regard?
No, they haven't. That would be cool, but I think they want to keep races and generations even across the board, right? So anyone who joins in the fourth generation isn't at a disadvantage, really. Same thing with if you can't buy a skeleton or an orc or an elf, they don't want you to be at a disadvantage if you're just buying a human character.
So there's not really a benefit. They're just a rarer race.
Yep, it's all just aesthetics and supply on those, really. I remember when dark elves and skeletons first came out. I tried to buy them because
First
they're
to
like,
go, probably.
yeah, there was like a 0.1, and they were impossible to get. And I will probably forever be wanting one now. But the one thing I do like too is every time you recruit, you do have a random percentage to get one of those dark elves or skeletons. So it's not like you're just stuck with humans forever.
Yeah.
Here, let's do one of the children cries. It's kind of cool. We can hop around and show you all the different dungeons they've put out.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll do one with my best character again because she pretty much just wins everything I send her out to do now. What I'm also really interested in, and I want to get in, is they have this dual mechanic down here, right? So you can see next to your character, there's an ID number. And they're in alpha right now, building out person v person duels. So I think my intelligence character might do okay, but I know I've seen some people in the Discord who have really, really good characters. That's when you asked too about how if I do my raids in one sitting, the thing I do like about this right now being all done by like the computer, I don't have to direct my character, is I can let this sit in the background and then I'll come to it whenever I'm ready.
Yeah, because some of these, it seems like you can sort of click, you could switch off of it, you can come back. At least like the early raids, you don't even have to interact with them, right?
Yep.
You just kind of click and it goes through. So if you do have a lower end character, it's a little less intense.
And I think right now too, it's even though the gameplay is pretty simplistic, there's so much depth to it when you're looking at what you can get from each character and what what stat builds work with what. And we'll hop in and see what I got. Nothing too crazy. It was just a boomerang, uncommon gear. As you can tell, this character's got a lot of gear, right?
Yeah, when marketplace, right?
Yeah,
We need to
right.
get this gear. So yeah, that'll be an interesting dynamic when a marketplace for the gear comes out, because I think it seems like you can just get a ton of gear. So why are people even going to be buying some of those like lower end stuff?
Yeah, but I think when I look, I mean, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. When I look at the currency build or the like in-game resources, I have a feeling that they're gonna come up with something to maybe you burn your old
Combine, yeah.
clothes for ash or something. So even though I have a bunch of these level nothing brown jerkins, I think at some point they'll probably do something with them.
Okay. So now I want to. We've gone over rating. We've gone over getting money on there, how to buy. Now I want to go over like the coins. So there's Raider and there's Aurum.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
Do you have like an empty LP pool? Or
I have an LP pool.
like, should I just show mine, or should we try and go to like an empty one?
Hold on. Let me
I mean, I don't really
open
care.
mine back up. So I connected to there. Let's see.
I
I
wish
have an empty pool. Yeah. So if we let me just close. I have like all these tabs open from before. So when you're on the site, let's go back to the beginning. Let me reshare.
Sorry, I'm looking at some of these comments now. The red nose is super hard to give. Yeah, Tony, I was very excited when I pulled that one.
Yeah, so John's been playing this game for a decent amount of time, has been able to get some good items, a bunch of characters. Now, so I'm on the main site. Where should I be going?
So if you go to play game, and then you go to Raider Bank on the top right. So this will get you to the whole staking center, which I really like. I think it's pretty simplistic and straightforward, and it kind of got me into swapping and providing liquidity in general. And it's a really easy way to understand, I think, this whole complex scene, right?
Yeah. So the basic idea, so you can see I have 6 Raider that I've accumulated, but I just unstaked it. Before we do this, let me just quickly answer this question from Zuzak. Do you get good items only from heroic dungeons?
So it's not only from heroic dungeons do good items drop. So you can still get a croak jaw from a non-heroic dungeon, but it won't have as high of a stat possibility. So each time you get a new piece of gear, there's a randomization that occurs that gives you how much intelligence it has, how much strength it has.
So it's just a lower percent chance at the lower levels.
Exactly. So you're gonna have if you're doing lower level raids, you'll probably get a lower level gear, even if it's still a rare piece of gear. So that's why I try to do heroic raids.
Yeah. Okay, so
wow. Sorry, I can't say his name. Rubem had a red nose and a blue elf. He's got a really good character. Every other runs snowballs. That's tough.
So it can drop. So it's a blue elf was from the item.
Yeah, it's a blue elf tunic. It's from the Christmas one, and those are a lot of people have been using those now just because they have super high intelligence, and intelligence has been a good build. So
nice.
All right, okay, so staking.
We have liquidity pools for those that don't know. Basically, like you're providing liquidity, and other people will be able to take those resources while you're providing the liquidity. You're earning. Here we have the APRs below. It's not showing anything for this Aurum one. It was, but there it is.
I was gonna say, yeah, just refresh. And
so pop. The APRs is basically your annual percentage rate, which is going to tell you like if you put $100 in, you're going to earn back so the 220% of that over a year's worth of time. And that's if you just like leave it in the pool the whole time. So TVL is pretty much telling you how much money is currently in these pools. So they're all over 2 million, which is like pretty decent. The Raider pool is at almost 20 million now. So it's showing that people are putting money into it, and a decent amount in general. As the TVL goes up, though, I believe the APR over time will go down. But right now, what this says to me is the best pool to be in would be the Auromatic. That's giving you the most APR. Some people would look at it and say, I want to be in the one with the highest TVL because it's less likely that
it gets pulled.
Yeah, it just gets pulled. So so what would we do here? What would your suggestion be?
I think again, this is all dependent on what you're interested in doing within the game, right? And I think if you are interested in the game and you want to do runs and try and build up loot and get some higher level characters to battle in duels, you're going to want ARM, right? And the only way to earn ARM is by staking Raider. So currently, at the time, if you're trying to play the game, buying a little Raider and then staking it for ARM is going to be like what you want to do to play the game for a longer period of time, right? If you're just looking to like understand staking and like the whole mechanism and maybe earn some Raider while you're doing it, any of these four liquidity pools are probably going to be okay for you.
Yeah. So basically, you're putting, like, say for, I'll give the example of Automatic because that one has APR and it doesn't have Raider. But you're putting in, you'd have to buy Aurum tokens and Matic tokens, and you would put them into this liquidity pool.
Mhm.
And what over time they would give you back Raider. You're earning it at that rate
Mhm.
that the APR, the 220% is from. You would claim it here as Raider. So right now it says 0 to claim. I have claimed 6 Raider up above. And as you can see right now, Raider is $2, so I've earned like $12. It's not like much, but
Yes.
I mean that was like in a day or something. So yeah,
Yep.
basically the way that the math works out is it's you're gonna make X amount of dollars per day, and you can claim it as many times as you want in the liquidity pools. But in the staking your Raider portion at the top, those have a holding pattern. So if I put the 6 in,
Mhm.
it holds it for a minimum of 3 months,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
So that's the difference with that. The staking is gonna hold it for at least a 90-day period, whereas if you're providing liquidity, it's going through Sushi Swap and it's more liquid, as we say, where you would be able to pull it at any time that you want. So
Mhm.
that's the difference really between the staking and liquidity. I don't know. Do you stake any of your Raider right now?
Yeah, so I actually, when they originally airdropped some of it to the first Gen 1 holders, I didn't have any need for it in any other way, so I just staked it all right away. I figured I'd probably want to keep playing the game, and it kind of just proved to be the right decision because now I've recruited a few characters. I can get dungeon keys when I want, so I did just stake all my Raider.
Okay.
I like the game. What can I say?
Yeah, basically it's a bet on the game to be
Mhm.
staking Raider. Um,
I
so
also
yep.
I read it in the chat. He said I tried with Matic, Arm, and Raiders, but wouldn't let me show on the pool to add to the pool. Um, so do you want to hop into the Raider and Matic drop down real quick?
Yeah, so the first question I had was Raider is the native
Oh,
token to the game,
mhm.
correct?
Yeah. So
So
Raider.
can you purchase Raider on any exchange?
So not any exchange. They have it available on Sushi. If you, I guess you could just go click on Buy Raider real quick for you or for me, and it'll just directly take you to the Sushi Swap page right now. Um, Obviously, the game's pretty small. Maybe at one time it will become like easily tradable on Coinbase or Binance or something, like Axes are now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so all you would do, you just import this token, which is the contract that they have set up for Raider, and then you can swap away to buy
Okay.
Raider.
You could do that with Orem too. See,
Yep.
because I wasn't sure. So the difference between Orem and Raider. So when it's considered the native token, Raider is to be used. Which one is used in game as the currency?
So ARM will be the in-game currency,
Okay.
and then Raider is more of just their token as like a whole company that is used for like providing liquidity to the company, through the pools, or just staking on their own to earn ARM for in-game use. Or you could just day trade Raider if you really wanted to. But Raider's more just of like a token would be like Dogecoin or anything. There's not a
So
ton of
it's
utility
more
for it.
it's more the company,
Hmm.
like buying into the company,
Basically,
versus Aurum is people playing the game or earning Aurum or
hmm,
buying Aurum to then use it in the game, and it's like the differences between the two. Okay.
exactly.
Um.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he was asking just how to get it staked. So on
Yeah. So let's get let's get some Raider Matic here.
yeah,
So what would I do to start?
so he's got it right. You have the stake button. You can click on the go here to make LP tokens. So that's just making liquidity pool tokens, and it'll take you directly to Sushi Swap, like you were buying or selling Raider or ARM, and it'll give you these two inputs, right? You throw a little Matic in, you throw some Raider in, and then it'll give you how many tokens you'll have, and it'll show you what share of the pool you'll end up having. So right now,
Okay,
since
so I have some Raider, I have some Matic. Um, Basically, what I would do is I'm going to approve this
Mhm.
first. Now, one thing I want to make very clear to people is whenever you're making any sort of transactions in this game, and in the liquidity pools, you want to make sure you don't use all of your Matic, because Matic is used as the transaction fees. So I would recommend, like, say in this general, it gives you a max option, which I don't have the 48 Raider, so it wouldn't work here.
Mhm.
But you don't want to click max on Matic ever, because if you run out of Matic, you won't be able to make other transactions, and then someone's going to have to send you Matic, or you're going to have to buy it and send it
Can't be a
over, and
hassle.
there's just way more steps.
Yeah.
So make sure you don't max out your Matic. So let me go through and I'll approve.
Yeah, and I love you mentioning that, because I did run into that issue at one point when I first started. But the one thing that's really good about Matic is it's super cheap too still. So you're not going to be spending transaction fees to confirm and
What's
add
Matic at
liquidity.
these days? It's around $2 or so.
Yeah, I think it's just that
Um,
too.
so then you're going to confirm and add liquidity. What I would say about Matic and Raider, since they're both about $2, um, your risk of like impermanent loss is kind of lower, because they're probably pretty consistently move similar,
Mhm.
versus like if what was the other one at Orem was under $1, right? Like
Yeah,
what if Orem spikes up to $2? Then all of a sudden, like, you're at risk of some impermanent loss here. But
definitely.
so I just created that. Now it's gonna populate underneath. So it says I have 5 of the pool tokens. So now I can go back to the bank, and do I just have to refresh this page?
Yeah, so you'll refresh it, and then it should show you how many tokens, LP tokens, you have ready to stake. Hit the drop down again. Yeah, perfect. So there's the 5.762 that you just made. You can add the allowance. It'll probably have you sign again, I believe.
Yeah, and see, so that showed it was only 0.001 Matic,
Hmm.
which, based on a $2 valuation, like you're paying in less than pennies, and then at that point, I mean, you just need something in there. So I generally like to keep at least one Matic, in that sense. So we staked. Now, do I have to refresh it again to see
Yeah,
anything there?
if you signed in everything, you should just do it. And then, yeah, you might have to hit stake. I didn't see the sign come up. I don't know if it
So
should make
stake, and
you.
now it's saying 0.004. So the first transaction that I did was approving the
Mm,
ability to do this, and
mhm.
that's a one-time transaction. And now this one, every time that I go to stake, it'll just be another one transaction fee. So that initial 0.001 was to approve, and this 0.004 Matic was to actually stake. So now it says stake and get rewards.
Mhm.
Um, and basically what I could do, I mean, I'm not going to do it right now, but when you come back into a later date, like maybe tomorrow or a week from now. Like there's different strategies. Some people will go in and daily compound is how they'll say it is. You'll go in, you claim, and then you add more liquidity, you throw it on, and you're growing it over time. Or you can just have it sit for a while, come back, claim it, switch that into USD or Ethereum or whatever you want later down the road. So here, that's basically where you could do that. And then you could go in, you can unstake if you want. I don't know if we want to go over that part, but
someone had a question in the comments that I'd love to get to real quick, if you don't mind.
yeah, is it on staking? I just want to close the loop on staking first.
Yeah, go for it. It's not.
So basically you would go in here and you would unstake and it would automatically claim the Raider that you've earned over that time. So that's where like my Raider balance of 6 came from, because I unstaked and claimed. Every time you go to unstake, it automatically will claim what you've earned during that time. So right now, I mean, it's $25 worth in there. So it's nice. It kind of shows you under your balance how much in US dollars you have in that pool. So these are the 4 main pools: Raider Matic, Raider Weth, Aurum Matic, and then Aurum USD. And as of now, those are the 4. Like maybe over time they'll add more ones, especially if they're going to add things like the Ash that you were talking about before. I wouldn't be surprised if they made some more liquidity pools over time based on that. So, all right, let's get to this question you're talking about from Cole. So how many Raiders will be a good start to the game? And then how much Aurum do you need to constantly raid dragons each week? Dungeons, sorry.
Soon dragons, though.
Yeah.
I would say, how many do you need to get started? It's all up to you. I would say 1 is fine. If you just want to like dip your toe in and learn, you don't need more than 1.
You're fine. You can be playing with 1 character and it's not that much of a disadvantage.
I think I think there's going to be a PvP aspect to this game, but I think it's more of a collective, like everyone's looking for fun gear and raiding kind of thing, where you're not really competing against anyone, it's just you make what you make of the game until duels are released. But yeah, I think, 1 character would be good. And if you get, it costs 25 Aurum per reset. So if you got maybe like 1,000 Aurum or something, you could do a bunch of resets on that character and kind of grind them up to a high level, and it would be an enjoyable little start for you. I don't think you have to do anything. There's no benefit to buying a bunch of Raiders over the other. It might almost just become more time consuming. Yeah. And you might not like it as much. Like I was showing you my best character. She's the one I like to do, like spend most of my Aurum on anyways. Is I just like trying running more with her because she's good and I can get good loot.
Yeah. So the question I had, basically, if you have 1 character, are you able to breed future characters? Do you need at least 2 to do that? What do you need in order to get a new recruit, or is that airdrops, things like that right now? Can we just go over that real quick?
Those are really good questions. So you only need 1 to recruit, which is really nice. So like I said, there's, 1 is a perfect place to start. And then that way you can recruit in the future, and you don't even have to necessarily try and buy another one off secondary. But last time, I don't want to misspeak. I'm going to go check their blog real quick. Last time, I believe it was 2,000 Aurum or 2,250 Aurum to recruit a character. So I guess you could do the math real quick. It's what, 0.026 cents? It costs about it costs about $60 to recruit a character.
Super cheap. Round. So kind of to answer that question in a way too is if you want to like wait it out in that sense, that's cheaper than a floor character.
Yeah, but you have to have a floor character just to recruit at all. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Buying 1 instead of 2, you would get the second one definitely for cheaper than buying a second one.
100%. Yeah, that's why I said 1 would be almost like a good way to start.
Mhm.
Or you could also too, if you don't want to buy off secondary now, you could wait till the next recruitment event, because that always, right as people recruit, it drops the price of floor raiders instantly. So that's a good place if you don't like, you want to wait until the fourth generation comes out.
Right. Yeah. And, if anyone has other questions while we're on, I'll give you guys a few more minutes
Yeah.
to get some questions in. Um,
Lou, I
or else
appreciate you
yeah,
hopping
we had
on
a good
and
stream.
talking Raiders with me. I know I gotta learn the stream setup a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have another one of these. Hopefully
Well,
at some point, if they have some more intense, um, the mechanics of games later, and
yeah,
maybe when like duels come out or something like
I
that.
was gonna say, I think next year will be a really, like, the start of
Next
the year
year.
will be really big for them, just because they're finishing up like the dual alpha and the Christmas stuff right now. So I'm looking forward to, marketplaces and mobs and everything starting in January.
Yeah, and then they're asking for this website. What's the website with the item info?
Mm,
And I just dropped it in the chat.
perfect.
It's www.cryptoraiders.guru/stuff-list.
Yeah,
Bring that one up here now too.
perfect.
For those listening and to the audio version of the podcast, that's the one, and we'll add it to the notes section of this video after we're done. But yeah, that's a good resource, and I'm assuming we're going to get more resources over time. And this is what happens with a lot of these communities that get really into the games. Is it's going to be someone in there. I know our friends over at Know Your Horses have
Yeah.
been starting to get into this game a little bit, and wouldn't be surprised if maybe Know Your Raiders comes out at some point in time. But yeah, I mean this. I feel like we've gotten a lot of good information on
Yeah.
this stream here, and it. The other thing is the Discord. So we should be joining the Discord, right? They
Mhm.
generally are going to give updates through Discord specifically.
Yeah, they do. They'll announce when they put out the blog post, but you can do the blog post is a really, really good source for information every week that they put out. But then, yeah, I think Discord for general questions and everyday topics. There's so many helpful people in there, and people who know 10 times as much as I do about the game already. Um, and their mods are really responsive. Their whole team is a good group of people, I think so.
Cool.
Um, I was also going to say too, have you played DeFi Kingdoms much? I'd love to have you share that with me
Yes. So one thing
in
that
the
I'm
future.
on for this weekend, one of my goals is to put up some quick videos on DeFi Kingdoms, and hopefully, we're trying to make this Friday stream like a regular thing. However, next week is Christmas,
Christmas, yeah.
so and then the week after is New Year's Eve. So, um, I'm assuming maybe I'll do it as like a one-off thing, but if we're doing a live stream of DeFi Kingdoms, that might not be until next year at this point. But that's where I'm gonna try to create some little videos
Mhm.
on how to go around the map and different things that you could do in there. That's been getting a little hype recently, and they're supposed to be doing a quest later tonight, like on our other streams with Club
Mhm.
MGMI. We're probably going to
Nice.
go over um, if and when, because you never know with these things. We're assuming the patch comes out tonight. If not, we
Oh
might push it
yeah.
back. But so that one's in the works. If you're watching, follow us, like us, subscribe. LuckyTrader.com. John put out an article going over basically what we went over today, but in a little more detail with pictures, um, specifics on that. So make sure that you check that out. And anything else, we're luckytrader.com. Lucky Trader News is a good resource for when they come out with more information. We'll probably be covering things on Crypto Raiders when I'm sure You'll be on top of it, but we'll
Yeah.
probably be tweeting out some updates from them, project updates, announcements over time. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, it doesn't seem like there's other questions, so we'll get out of here. Have a
Yeah.
good weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me, Lou. Tune it, and thanks for tuning in, everyone.